What is up, everybody? I am RC Gates, proud member of comicsgate, horror and cosplay enthusiast, and vocal proponent of making Halloween a year-long holiday. Welcome to another video. Now, this is a topic that's sort of been floating around in the comicsgate circles and just pop culture circles for a couple of days now, and I sort of wanted to weigh in on it as I am a hopeful comic artist at some point, constantly working on improving my art, and this is something that I think is something that is important when it comes to art. And this is the topic, it has something to do with the topic of tracing. Because a DC art, this is an article from Screen Rant, and it's been covered on many different channels over the past couple of days. A DC artist is accused of tracing Marvel X-Men art for the new Wonder Woman book. And you can see it right here. I'll include a link to the article in the description. And it says, an artist on DC's upcoming Trial of the Amazons event, Joelle Jones, is being accused of plagiarizing the art of iconic X-Men artist Pepe Larraz. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. And this right here is the art that was copied from, or was traced, and the subsequent art. Now take a look at that. You'll see that even down to even the smallest details, it seems like this was obviously traced. And personally, I believe that it was, because this is way too close of way too close in similarity. It says, the article says at least, Joelle Jones, who is currently an artist at DC Comics, has been accused by a user on Twitter at SamuLive47 of allegedly directly tracing the art of Pepe Larraz, the artist who partnered with Jonathan Hickman to create X-Men's newest era over at Marvel Comics. The allegation spins out of the promotional art created for the upcoming Wonder Woman event's Trial of the Amazons. Plagiarism in the comics community is never something to be taken lightly, very true, which is what makes the recent accusation against the incredibly talented Joelle Jones all the more serious. And then it goes through all the stuff that Joelle Jones is known for. I'm going to just skip over that and get to the actual important part. So it says, Twitter user SamuLive47 appears to be the first person to have noticed the alleged tracing done by Jones. In the tweet, they compared the two, and pretty much it was just shown that this is tracing. When reached out, Joelle Jones chose not to provide a statement, and Pepe Larraz did not respond, yada yada yada. And here is the tweet showing the tracing. And apparently that wasn't the only point where there was art being traced. So you can see that there's I guess Supergirl and Jean Grey, who look very similar in their poses. Very, very similar, and that's concerning. All right. So now we're down to the end of the article where it gets into maybe like trying to explain the reasoning behind there may have been tracing. And this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. So it says, similarities between the two pieces are truly striking, with both of Jones' characters having identically drawn hands to the Larraz piece, Polaris and Donna sporting the same facial expression, and a seemingly direct copy of Jean Grey's skirt onto Cassie's body. Whichever one, I don't know which one's Cassie. Of course, these allegations are alleged, and tracing is a common practice in many artists' lives, with many well-known artists reusing their own previously drawn poses, especially in group shots, to reduce their heavy workloads. Let me get through the article before I get back to this. That being said, plagiarism is never excusable. Both Marvel and DC Comics have made plenty of mistakes in the past around using other artists' imagery, and the publications certainly need to be held to account for any oversight they might miss. Well, here's the thing. Whenever it comes to tracing, if an artist is using their own work to alleviate their workload, that I don't have a problem with. If it's their own work. If they are using someone else's work, then that is a problem. That is just a product of pure laziness and not wanting to actually be an artist. If you are an artist, a true artist, then your art is going to be what you want to put into it. If you're just going to be pulling stuff from other people, you're not an artist, you're just a thief. If I wanted to make stuff easy for myself, I would just take something from the shelf and I would get a piece of tracing paper and I would trace over it. But I'm not going to do that. I have done very few drawing streams on my channel because I'm working on making my art style my own. My art is important to me. And making a good product is also important to me. I would not think to open up a comic book and trace over something because that's not my art. Now, if I wanted to trace over one of my own pieces and maybe use it as like a reference piece, then that's okay because it's my art that I'm using. So I would just be building upon that. I can't build on someone else's work. And that should be true with Marvel and DC's professional artists. All right, so moving on with the article, it says both Larraz and Jones are incredibly popular and talented artists in the mainstream right now, so it's disappointing to think these allegations may be true. I think that they are. A lot of people think that they are. If anything, if plagiarism did occur, I'm going to switch over to my soy voice for this one. This could speak more to the comic industry's unfair labor practices and expectations for their work, which led to the creation of the first officially recognized comics workers union, something that the comic industry has fought against for decades. Okay, that's pretty much it. It's nothing to do with unfair labor practices, in my mind. It's just laziness. Whenever it comes to making art, I used tracing paper when I was like 10 years old. If you're doing it whenever you are doing a professional job and you are being paid to do that, if you're working on Marvel or DC, or even if you're working in indie comics, if you are a comicsgate creator, this holds true for everyone. If you're using tracing over someone else's work, I'm sorry, you are lazy, and I'm not going to support you. And a lot of people shouldn't support you because you are not giving your art the amount of you're not valuing your art. And if you don't value your art and value your work, then why should anyone else value your work or your art? I'm not going to buy a comic that is traced over other people's work. And I highly doubt that anyone else would want to either. That's pretty much my thoughts on this. I know that there are... it's actually quite entertaining seeing like whenever you go and you see like the various swipes over the years from one artist to another, and it's quite entertaining to see how close that stuff is to the original piece of work. So definitely go and check that stuff out because it is entertaining to see. It's a bit depressing to see that these people really don't value their artwork or their art style enough to make it original, but it is still entertaining to see whenever you don't have like any money in it. So let me know what your thoughts are on this whole DC Comics artist tracing over the Marvel artist. Let me know if you have any differing opinions. Let me know if you have the same opinions. I'm actually very curious to hear from you guys about that, because I can tell you my thoughts as an artist or an up-and-coming artist, but I want to hear what people's thoughts as like a lay person would be, because I've heard some and I've heard both sides of the aisle. I'm just curious to hear from you guys. So if you would, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. I'll be putting out some more pre-recorded videos and also doing some streams over the next couple of days. Feel free to check those out, and thank you all for stopping by. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.